It feels like we wake up every single day to some new AI breakthrough. But here's the thing. Something incredible has already happened. We've built this weird alien mind. Now, it's not sentient, but boy, can it fake it well. And because of that, we're now standing at a massive crossroads, looking at a bunch of possible science fiction futures that are turning into science fact right before our eyes.
I mean, just let that quote sink in for a second. We, these walking, talking bags of water and chemicals, have somehow taught sand, silicon chips, to mimic the way we think. It's just wild. It captures the sheer strangeness of this moment perfectly. And while it's this huge achievement, it forces us to ask what might be the single most important question of our time. So, what happens next?
All right, so in this explainer, we're going to try to map out the possibilities. We've already got this new alien mind, so check that box. Now we're going to walk through 4 very different scenarios for what our future could look like. We've got the plateau, the steady climb, the rocket ship, and then the really mind-bending one, the machine god. And then we'll wrap up by talking about what it all means for the choices we have to make right here, right now. Okay, let's dive into the first possible future. And funnily enough, this is probably the most unlikely one. This is the world where AI development just stops. It's peaked. The AI you're playing with today, yeah, that's pretty much as good as it's ever going to get. But here's the weird part. From a technical standpoint, there's absolutely no evidence that we're hitting some kind of wall. And let's be real, getting every country on Earth to agree to a ban, not likely. And yet, so many people and organizations are planning for the future as if this is what's going to happen. Why? Well, it's basically a form of denial. The world got really strange, really fast, and it's just human nature to want to hit the brakes and hope things will just stabilize.
But here's the kicker. Even if AI never gets 1 ounce smarter, some massive, massive changes are already locked in. I mean, think about it. The internet is about to become totally unmanageable. Fake images, fake voices, fake videos. It's going to be a tsunami that just overwhelms any attempts at fact-checking. Our shared sense of reality could literally crumble, pushing us into these tiny, isolated information tribes. And on a personal level, chatbots are going to become way more compelling, and creative jobs are going to be changed forever, even if they're not totally replaced. This isn't a guess, folks. This is our baseline. This is the world we get even if the ride stops today.
Okay, so let's move on to scenario 2. This is the future of a slow, steady, predictable growth in AI. You can think of it like how your TV gets a little bit better, a little sharper each year. It's a pace of change that we can actually see coming, and for the most part, society can adapt to it. You see, this slide gets at a really interesting problem that AI could actually help us solve. For decades, we've had this weird situation where we have more scientists alive than ever before in history, but the actual pace of big discoveries is slowing down. Why? Well, there's just too much information out there for any one human brain to process. A steadily improving AI could be like a super-powered research assistant, helping us get those engines of progress fired up again. In a steady climb world, disruption wouldn't be a tidal wave. It'd be more like predictable waves hitting the shore. You'd see it hit places like call centers first. Then it would roll into creative fields like marketing. After that, it'd start handling more complex analytical and coding work. The point here isn't if things change, but how fast. A slower pace gives us all time to adjust and retrain. It's less about wiping out entire jobs and more about changing the tasks within those jobs. So what you get is a world with 2 sides to it. On the one hand, yeah, you're going to have hyper-personalized scams that are terrifyingly effective, and criminals will use AI to get smarter. But on the other hand, you get faster scientific breakthroughs, huge jumps in productivity, and a society that actually has time to put up some guardrails. It's a mixed bag, for sure, but humans are still very much in control. But that whole steady climb idea assumes progress is nice and linear, and so far, that's not what we've seen at all. Which brings us to scenario 3, the rocket ship. This is a future driven by exponential growth. Think Moore's law, but for intelligence. A world where AI could get hundreds of times better in just a single decade. Honestly, the easiest way to picture this future? Just take everything we talked about in the steady climb scenario and now imagine it all happening on frantic fast forward. The changes aren't just bigger, they're happening at a speed that is just incredibly difficult for us and for our societies to handle.
And the result is a world that starts to feel a lot like something out of a cyberpunk novel.
You've got AI hackers in a never-ending war with AI police. You've got AI being used to cook up new chemical weapons in a matter of hours. You have governments using AI surveillance everywhere, creating this very real danger of an AI-tocracy. In this kind of future, our institutions, our governments, our laws, they just can't keep up with the chaos. Now, on the flip side of that chaos, this kind of explosive growth could also mean we just don't have to work as much. And while that sounds totally radical, it's really just the next step in a very long trend. This number, 69,000, that was the average number of hours a British worker spent on the job in their entire lifetime back in 1980. A century before that, it was 124,000. We've already proven we can handle having more free time. Maybe adjusting to even more wouldn't be as crazy as we think. But if that rocket ship of exponential growth just keeps accelerating, we eventually arrive at our fourth and final scenario. This is the one where AI hits a singularity, a takeoff point. It achieves artificial general intelligence, or AGI. This is the machine god. Yeah, there's just no way to sugarcoat this one. The implication is as simple as it is profound. In this scenario, the 2 million-year-long run of Homo sapiens as the smartest thing on planet Earth, well, it comes to an end. After that moment, we are in completely uncharted territory. We can only hope that we did a good enough job aligning this new superintelligence with our values. If we did, maybe it becomes a machine of loving grace that ends poverty and cures all disease. But if we didn't, it could see us as a threat, an inconvenience, or, chillingly, just a pile of useful molecules it could use for something else. The honest truth is, absolutely nobody knows. And look, this isn't just some Hollywood script. This quote is from Geoffrey Hinton, one of the literal godfathers of AI. When the people who actually built this technology are taking this risk seriously, you know we have to as well. The idea that we might just be a stepping stone to some higher form of intelligence, it's very real. But just focusing on that last, unknowable, terrifying scenario can make us feel completely powerless. So let's pull back. Let's pivot to what we actually can control. This is about our choice and our future. It's about aiming for something called a eucatastrophe. So here's the most important takeaway. Obsessing over a potential machine god apocalypse, it steals our power. It robs us of our agency right now. The much more likely futures are that steady climb or that rocket ship, worlds where AI is incredibly powerful. Yes, but humans are still in the driver's seat. And in those worlds, the choices we make about how we build and use this stuff, that's what will decide everything. And this is the goal. This should be what we're aiming for. The author J.R.R. Tolkien came up with this brilliant word, eucatastrophe. It means a good catastrophe, a sudden joyous turn of events that brings about a miraculously happy ending. So instead of just sitting back and waiting for some single giant outcome, this idea encourages us to use AI to actively create thousands of small, local eucatastrophes in medicine, in science, in our daily lives, turning moments of crisis into moments of Christ. Which leaves us with one last crucial question. The future of AI isn't some movie we're all just passively watching. It's a story that we are all actively writing right now. It's going to be shaped by thousands and thousands of choices made by people like you, everywhere. The technology is moving way too fast for doing nothing to be a viable option. So are we going to actively work to build that better world, that eucatastrophe? Or is our inaction, our passivity, going to make the catastrophe inevitable? For now, at least, the choice is still ours.